together. Guys, we have 243 people watching, only 88 likes. Please get the likes up. Hit that like button. Don't be stingy with those likes. Somebody in the chat room wants to know, how do you feel about Trump's comments when it comes to demonizing the Central Park Five, Jeff Sessions ignoring white supremacy while targeting black identity extremists, etc. What are your thoughts on that?
Ooh, that's a loaded question right there. I don't think Jeff Sessions is doing his job right, number one. I'm mad at Jeff Sessions. Jeff Sessions is not pushing the agenda of why we voted for Trump into office. My number one agenda right now is build the wall and push back on the illegal immigrants. I think white supremacy is an issue. I'm not denying that. But I think for me, as far as priority, where he's failing is he's not enforcing law heavy enough. We've already been served in the state. He served the leaders of Jerry Brown and Eric Garcetti. Jerry Brown is our current governor right now. So I can speak in regards of California. But as far as Jeff Sessions, I think sometimes I look at his job and I say, how long is it going to be before the TikTok happens with that one?
Hugh, brother, you want to go ahead and chime in?
Absolutely, absolutely. First, applaud to you and Shirley for having a great information. I was listening at work and in the car. I will say this for everybody, FYI. I've been a conservative since 1986 when Eazy-E first went into the White House with 41.
You had kind of went out. If you can repeat that last part again?
I said I've been a conservative since 1986 when rapper Eazy-E went in the White House with 41, wearing all black and sunglasses, and been a world traveler and current California resident. So yeah, I'm very versed on a lot of these things, and also applause to the sister for even holding these conversations. I think we as a collective, Dinus, we need to do what you've done and put yourself in environments, as Shirley is doing, put herself in an environment, and let the true conversationalists, not the screamers and the interrupters, not let them come to and dominate. We need to play intellectual chess as people with black skin. I tell people all the time, because they don't understand what conservatism is. I'm an Edmund Burke conservative. I'm a individual who believes what John Adams kicked around. So I'm not a Reaganite, and that kind of throws people to the left, but it is what it is. I'm really black first, but I'm conservative. Let's keep it here. NAFTA was terrible. So with all that said, I answered the same question that you asked Dinus about first the conquistadors. They didn't get all of California, number one. It was only a certain region of it, like the tail end. So a lot of times people will say will mention San Diego and think that was all of California. You know what I'm saying? They don't understand California is 7 states in one. So it's really original. The other thing is that when it comes to talking about these things that you guys talked about so far, and I'm gonna share the mic after I say this, it's really important that people who disagree with us in chat room, in other, that they research and then debate us, that they get their dates and their who said what on this day, who said this at this time, and then they come to debate. Because the problem is the initial response of people who are not well versed is that they come to the party assuming and thinking things is a certain way, and in actuality it's not. And I'll share the mic on that.
Brother, the floor is yours. Go ahead. Go ahead and continue.
Yeah, I know. I'm just like, I love hearing what you said. Can I say something? I'm going to add to what you said. Emotion. Black people act emotionally. Black people go physical. We even use some of our body strength when we're talking to people. Our positions start to change. And I love what you said. Do your homework. Think it through. Don't let them put you in that mindset of what they want you to be. be your own Black woman and man and say, hold on.
There's an echo back.
Okay, I'm gonna hit mine while she talks.
Okay.
I'm gonna mute mine while she speaks.
Okay. All right. Go ahead, Shirley.
Is this better?
Go ahead.
Is the echo still there?
It's better. Go ahead.
So we as a people, we know that we act emotionally and we put our body language in it, and we don't think from a intellectual concept. That's why there's a movement of the Black conscious community growing online. And there's many of us that need to have this dialogue, and we need to hold back and say, let me listen to that brother, let me listen to that sister, and say, okay, what are the solutions? Because all I hear sometimes from some people in the conscious community, they are intellectual and they do have data and they do have a lot of good information or debatable information. But in that, where is the solution? Where lies the solution? I think you first have to acknowledge that the problem is illegal immigration for us. And number two, how do we solve that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. So again, Shirley, so let's go back to again, people keep saying Black people aren't building their own Black businesses. And we would, if that were the case, if we were to build our own businesses, we wouldn't have this issue. How do you feel about statements like that?
You know, back in the 80s, I was a little girl, and my father worked with a man who created the Black recycled dollar. Those in Los Angeles will remember this. And that was a concept that was on the table back then, and we tried to do the Black recycled dollar. You want to go before that? James Brown even talked about us having our own Black dollar. People see James Brown as someone who had this certain, but James Brown, when you look at the history, was a very smart man. And Ray Charles was another very smart man. And, you know, these men and this concept is nothing new about Black recycled dollar or Black dollars going within itself. But I have to say now, because we've assimilated so much broken communities that we can't really say, oh, well, let's have a Black dollar only, unless we identify there's a new community opportunity, and that's online. There's a lot of ways that we as Blacks can help each other and then buy from each other. Because truly to be known, most of us are mixed with different things. We're not just all one thing. I have a lot of West African in me, but I also have other parts of Europe in me. So knowing that, the majority of me is West African, I will tell you that much. Knowing that, I have to identify that as an American citizen, not an African, but an African-American citizen, a child of the indigenous slave tribe. Their job has always been to use us as commodity, to break us from uniting, and to keep us suppressed. So the way we've got to get out of that is absolutely by starting businesses, but you first have to acknowledge, why do we keep repeating it? Why do we keep doing the same deja vu, well, and not do it over again?
Well, to this, especially as a conservative. So here's the disappointing thing. When to answer your question, Dinah, from my point of view, when Ronald Reagan undid what Jimmy Carter did, when Ronald Reagan did his 1986 Welfare Reform Act and made it easy for human beings to go to government daddy for everything, this to me created a problem, because before that you had those businesses, and Jimmy Carter had a stipulation in the welfare in his reform of what Ford did. He had a stipulation that you had to be a two-party home, you had to be working, you had to be a whole bunch of stuff. Reagan undid that, and Reagan created also allowed for earned income for one parent. Now, I'm not saying that to demean. I'm saying that to show how the checkers were played. When you tell any human being, Irish people, for example, that you can come here, matter of fact, Yemen people, that's a real example on what we're speaking about. If you tell Yemen people that they can come here, get a $30,000 business loan to start up a business, and get 5 years to pay taxes, well, that's a win-win. So anytime you restructure things so a certain group of human beings can win over other human beings, then that's going to cause a problem for you not to create your own situation, which goes to this whole creating black infrastructure, which is what I call it. Black males have a lot of opportunity to create black infrastructure, as well as black females. You can go back into the unions that you had. You can go back to your Teamsters. You can go back to these black firefighters, black policemen. You can go all to these things. But here's what the problem is. And this is why I mentioned the Welfare Reform Act. Once some of these people get in the union, they forget to reach back to that little dude dreaming of being a cop. They forget to reach back to that little dude dreaming of being a firefighter. You're supposed to catch that dude when he is like in 8th grade and give him every opportunity to get in. When you go to places like Boston, Connecticut, that's what the other cultures are doing. When they find out a little boy in Boston wants to be a cop, they get him early and put him in the system toward greatness. Well, we knew your father. We knew your father's father. Don't worry about it, Richard. You're going to have a straight shot in. That's how they do. So in answering that question, yes, we have to do that. And in your earlier immigration question, America is doing the reverse. They're spending so much time dealing with people who are coming into the country. And then when those people, I guarantee when we see another Pearl Harbor, you're going to see a lot of people just bounce and leave this country. They're going to leave their houses where they at. They're just going to bounce. And then the people who really love this country are going to try to fight for it.
Amen.
And that's where you're going to see that most of the people who love the country are not in a position to fight. And that's just what it is. Or they've been so disrespected that and that's what I see.
Let's see here. Let me ask you this. Now, again, people who just have issues with black people voting for Donald Trump. Do any of you want to address that? Because I think that's where the disconnect is. Like, why will a black person vote for Donald Trump?
I think I can answer that question. So
go ahead.
For those who may not know me, my name is Shirley Husar. I am the CEO of Urban Game Changers, where we go into urban communities. We hold elected officials accountable. In 2016, I was the delegate for Donald Trump for the state of California, the entire state of California. At the Republican National Convention, I became the lead delegate, and they empowered me to make the announcement of 172 votes for Donald Trump. I became a Trump supporter probably back in 2010 because I believe that I look at it as America as one large CEO company that's been misguided and spent wrong, meaning that it's a business. America is a business. And I think that people never understood that who were always running this country. And I felt that the ways, the laws, including NAFTA and a lot of things that were structured, were not in our best interest or the American people's best interest. So when Donald Trump said he was finally going to be a major contender, and I supported that on Black Hollywood Live, and I have that data documented in 2015, I predicted this man would become president of the United States. So I was an advocate for him because presidents are the better of the two evils. And that's how you have to look at presidential elections. Number one, it's the better of the two evils. You've got two people that you go, oh, I don't like this person. Oh, I don't like that person. But what's going to be in our best interest? In the meantime, Hillary was the main candidate for the Democrats. She stole the election from Bernie Sanders in California. She created with her husband mass incarceration. Her mentor was Robert Byrd, who was a head Klansman for the Ku Klux Klan. And we just pacified this lady in the sense of, well, I got hot sauce in my purse, and everybody laughed on the Breakfast Club. And then he went on the Roland Martin show, and she's doing the jig on the stage. In the meantime, here's another candidate that says, look, I'm reaching out to the Black community. I'm telling you, I want to make a difference in your community. But the problem is with Trump now as president, I'm going to fast forward. So why did I vote for him? Because he had a better sound structure system, and it's the better of the two evils. And I still stand behind. I voted, and I
agree.
This house, and I was proud of this hat, and I'm still proud of this hat. And I don't care what y'all said. That woman and that man that was previous did nothing for us but help them illegal immigrants and help them immigrants and help nothing for black people. They think of you as nothing but another nigga on the street they can make some money off of. In the meantime, so that's why I didn't vote for him. I vote for her. But I vote for him, and I still hold him accountable as any elected official. I don't care if it's Donald Trump. I don't care if it's your local person, even Maxine Waters with her Looney Tune ass, 80 years old, up there screaming for Mexican babies. What about the black babies in the mass incarceration in prisons? What about the black women who are hurting, wanting their man at home? What about the black communities that are being targeted by immigrants and Chinese knocking on their doors, harassing our elderly people? These are things that you need to think about. And the fact that why would I not vote for Donald Trump when you have that idiot woman on the platform? Evil. She's evil. And then all of a sudden, as soon as he got in the office, we start talking about Russia, Russia, Russia. And, it's just a pivot and diversion from true issues that need to be on the platform. The loudest person in the room gets attention. The squeakier wheel that needs to be oiled gets attention. We don't get attention. We're too busy letting these people ride on our backs talking about they got babies. Fuck your baby, and we got babies. Care about our babies. Care about our black men and our black women.
Right. And let me also champion on that. I did not vote for Trump, but here's where I do agree with Shirley. The issue is Democrats did not care enough to put their best candidate forward. Democrats, Nancy Pelosi, she shut out the guy that was supposed to get elected to run the new thing. You have Schumer. You see how quickly he turned on Maxine Waters when it was to his convenience. You see Obama's first 2 years, it was Democrats turning against him. So when you ask the question about Obama or about Trump and his presidency, it isn't really Trump. It's the fact that Democrats are so disrespectful and arrogant that all they do is catchphrases. All they do is, here's who we don't like. They're not even telling the black community right now. Look, Republicans are not telling the black community what they're going to do. Okay, I give you that. But Democrats don't say nothing. They're more concerned with gays, but now the gays, that's been turned around on them because now that you got these Supreme Court justices in play, everything the gays got from Obama has been nullified to nothing. So you see why they so quiet. And then when you look at, and this isn't hate, this is just factual. Like I told you, I'm a conservative, but I'm not a blind Republican. I'm not just voting for Trump just because he's Trump. I didn't like Hillary because of one factor. Before Hillary got into Secretary of State, we had no wars. Egypt was nice and peaceful. Libya was nice and peaceful. We was just getting out of Iraq. Within 4 years, all of a sudden, the Secretary of State created Egypt, Libya, and Syria. That goes to Shirley's point about being evil. Then, behind the scenes, you're sitting up here trying to blame Obama for why the DNC chair doesn't have money. Well, here's a question. DNC chair, it's your job to go out and generate money. So what have you been doing for 8 years? You haven't been doing nothing, but you was talking to Hillary secretly about the fact you don't have money. And instead of telling Obama or telling Bernie or telling the other guy that was running from Boston, you decided to only tell Hillary. Hillary decided to write you a check. And so therefore, everything you did as chair was to the benefit of Hillary. That's why Trump won. Let's keep that honest. And lastly, so far, Trump is hurting white folks. Trump so far is not hurting black people. Trump is riding off the numbers and waves that Obama did. I'm just talking math and numbers. But even if you put that all aside, what have the Democrats done but complain? They haven't promised hey, black male, we're gonna increase the money to the EEOC because we know you have the #1 complaints at the EEOC for unfair hiring practices. And when you go for an interview, nope, they're not talking about that. They talking about immigration. Hey, NAACP, we're going to focus on helping more sisters get business. Nope, they talking about some person from wherever the hell coming over here. I mean, that's where the real problem is, Dinus. It really isn't Trump. Trump is just an easy person to blame. And look, as a conservative, I'm gonna tell you, if you really want to be honest, don't blame Trump for the things that are going on. Blame Mitch McConnell. Obama raised the debt 2.6 trillion in 8 years. Mitch McConnell, Ryan, and Trump did 2.8 in 11 months. So blame the Democrats.
Another question from the chat room. People keep bringing up how illegal immigrants or immigrants get loans. These loans they get, and you just brought it up too, Q. Is there any documentation you can point us to that I can share where people can see it? Hello? Hello?
I'm here. You talking to me?
I'm sorry, I have muted myself. I will go try to get it for you. That's been a long known thing for years. Not every immigrant gets it. Mm-hmm. It's a really a connected thing. It's like when you come, especially Cubans used to get it all the time.
Or not illegal immigrants, but immigrants in general, where they could get these loans.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. The immigrant thing is basically a connected thing, you know, because you got to remember, and Shirley, you should remember, Dinus, we didn't have a lot of immigrants when we were kids.
Right.
It was hard to see somebody in a burqa or even a Mexican brother. You know what I'm saying? Because at one point in time, before Reagan busted up these unions, white, Latin, and black people was out there picking fruit. Proof of that, you can go watch any of those Richard Pryor movies. He made that showing you that they was out there working together. And if you want to go farther than that, there was a famous union, I think it was called the Farmers Something Union, where you had poor whites, blacks, and Latins working together as a union. They were fruit pickers before migrants even came in. Mm-hmm. So, but yes, I will try to find that for you because it's been a known thing for so long. It's like, you know, I mean, the guy close to my store, he got a business loan, a $30K business loan that he got from his connection at the immigration office. You know, that's just what it is. But I will try to find something for you. And always remember, people, documentation sometimes is in legalese. So what they'll do is they'll say, if you qualify for this or qualify that, then therefore you have the option. Kind of what Shirley just said about earmarks. So with a lot of earmarks, and I really implore our black people to look up a lot of this stuff, you can say, okay, I'm going to help Sacramento. And then as a subline, 10 G's is going to go to Modesto. Now, you don't read all that subline, which is earmarks, but you're like, well, dang, we should have put that 10 G's to Sacramento because that's what we fought for. No, somebody came in and they wrote some pig in there, some pork, and then now a couple of thousand is going over here, a couple of thousand is going over there. Same thing that happened with the Michigan water thing. Republicans screwed that up. You go in there talking about you're going to save money. You divert all this money elsewhere. And then when it comes time to fix the problem, you don't have the money to fix it because you've diverted the money already. But I'll try to find that information.
All right. Let's see here. What else we have?
Before you move forward, I kind of might have the information. I was trying to work fast to find.
Oh, go ahead, Shirley.
UR Web. I wrote an article called "Shirley Husar's Opinion: The State of Black Union, the Black Caucus Block Money from Black Dreamers." And anyway, it's on EB. EUR Web. Lee Bailey.
Okay. All right. Hold on. Let me type it in the chat room. Say it again.
If you go to EURweb.com. So it's EURweb.com.
Okay.
And you'll go there and search, type in just Husar. And then if you type in Husar, it'll say Shirley Husar Opinion of the State of the Union. The Black Caucus blocks money from Black America. And what I do is I give you a breakdown. I start talking about Trump. I talk about the Latino Coalition. You'll see that link there. And then I talk about the Congressional Black Caucus. But then there you scroll down. I'm trying to think about it. Hold on. I talk about the different visas that they came in on. Okay. And I talk about the leveraging of illegal immigration from the EB-5 program and the EB-2 visa, open doors for Blacks, open doors for, basically illegals against the Black communities and the leadership on it. The Black politicians basically didn't say anything on those programs. Those programs basically said that if they come in here with money, we will match their money. Or if they come in here with money, we will give them opportunity. And many of them bought franchises. Many of them bought 7-Elevens. Now we're dating ourselves. But do you guys remember when they used to have Kodak film and those little film stores? Those were owned by the Indians. They came in and they bought those little franchises. Fast forward, now they bought into Subways. They buy a lot of little small stores.
Hotels.
I'm sorry, say it again, brother.
Hotels, motels.
Yes, and now they've elevated up. They started with those small franchises. Now they own gas stations, hotel, motels, and they started from these visa programs at this level under Ronald Reagan. I mean, it did not work in our best interest, and we just sat back and we suffered for it. I'm also going to bring another attention. In the 1980s, many Black people only had access to wholesale. They didn't have access to import export. What does that mean? My aunt sold clothes, and there was shut down her shop.
And the thing about that is, the reason why that is, Black people historically, and we're going to get into this in my next question. Black people historically have always been kept out of the marketplace. But go ahead.
Black people have been kept out of the marketplace to its knowledge of what it knows. To its knowledge of what it knows. What does that mean? That means that most of us only knew wholesale. We didn't know import export back in the day. For those of you who are older, many of you guys understand import export. Right. You realize that you have access to Africa and China, and there's companies like Elance where you can basically hire someone from another country on a smaller scale and like the bigger scale. There's so many different ways that social media and the internet has allowed you a platform of knowledge and accessibility to foreign countries or to foreign investors or trade and market. For those of us who are older, our parents did not have that. What we had access to wholesale. So I was going to finish my thought. My aunt sold clothes, and there was a point where she did eventually have to close and get rid of her shop because she would sell clothes, and the next thing she looked up, the Chinese lady had a shop next to her on one of those visa programs that I talk about in that article. Right. And then they would see how, oh, that's a nice dress. I like your dress. It's nice. It's nice. She buys one of them, and she says, oh, look, the Chinese lady bought one. She'll mail it back to China. They have mass production and mass numbers, and they'll produce maybe 100 or 200 of those dresses. And then now she's got import export, which bypasses the wholesale price, which makes her product even cheaper. It might be a little less quality, but we weren't paying attention to quality. We were paying attention to looks because, we always like to look good. We always want everybody to think we got money. We always want to come off like we're the shit when you see us. But the reality is they were stealing from us. They were taking our intellectual property rights. They were copying us. They were mimicking us, and they suppressed that next generation. Well, now my aunt can't mentor my nephew or my niece or my cousins and saying, look, I have a small business. This is how you do it, because she can't do it the same way. And it basically destroyed that platform of infrastructure of you being able to do that chain relationship of businesses. Look, when you see these illegals mow your grass, they got their kids. They got their kids. Right. You heard the brother say that earlier. Well, we're going to hire you onto the force. We're going to hire your dad onto the force. They all protect each other. What protection do we have when our infrastructure and our intellectual rights have been stolen, basically ripped away, raped? We've been raped in this system of what government has allowed to happen to us, and we don't hold anybody accountable.
And you know what? Let me add in a different way. We as African American people, Black people in general, no matter where you're from, people with dark skin, we got to understand what the Polish, the Swedish, and the Russian all think when they come to America. We all got the same skin tone. Let's not put each other down. We all got the same skin tone. Let's not talk about each other. We all got the now. Secretly, the Russian might want to kill the white American. The Russian might want to kill the Polish. But for right now, we are all here in America. We're going to capitalize and we're going to work together simply because of this skin tone. You know how many Russians walk around here talking about they white? You know how many Russians you actually see in some of these alt-right marches? Ain't been here in this country for 11 months. What they know about being anti-black or anti-whatever. But they're able to hide in these areas the way a lot of gangsters did back in the day. Some of your favorite gangsters was Polish dudes and Jewish dudes. They wasn't all Italian. So my point in saying that is to magnify kind of what she said is these people get in and they learn through the visa program or just their connection to City Hall. They learn what options are available for this quarter. And they say, hey, Gurati Bani, hada, come over here. You got 10 G's, I got 10 G's, he got 10 G's. We only need 30 G's to put down on a blimpies. Let's put down on this blimpie. I'll go first. I'll get my tax credit benefit where I ain't got to pay no taxes. We'll stack up. When my tax benefits are over, I'll sell to you, Habib. You'll take the business. You'll run your tax benefit that I had to pay. When you finish, you give it to Ada. Y'all send me a little percentage, and we good. Because I'm over here buying the next McDonald's. And that's another thing of what Shirley said. It's information. It's not knowing that it exists. People will put stuff out for 4 months and then snatch it away. And then you'll say, well, Q, where's the information? Okay, I'll go get the information for you, but the laws change, the states change. The fact that it does exist is what the problem is. And black folks, we work too much on this independent. I got mine, you need to get yours. Everybody else don't work like that. The people from Ghana, they ain't focused like that. They can hate Nigerians, but they get together and they say, you know what? We can make some money. We can make some things happen. We can create our own soccer league out here in America. And this is the problem that as African Americans being so anti-family, want to be single, chasing who to sex next. I want to sex this person. I want to have sex with that person. All that stuff is not important. To everybody else, Dinus, the only thing that's important is legacy and land. Hello. Look at what Shirley said. Somebody sitting up there cutting grass and got their son right there because they want him to take over so that when he gets old, his son will be cutting him a check in case there's no Social Security. What black people want to do now, especially reading some of the stuff in the chat room that I'm reading, they want to kick back and hope Paul Ryan doesn't cut SSI. Hope Paul Ryan doesn't cut social. You don't do that, man. You gotta every 4 months, you need to be down at City Hall like the Chinese person does, like the Ukrainian person does. What can I get?
Real quick, ABL says walk away from the Anthony Brian Logan's in the chat room. He says walk away from the Democratic plantation. Now, me personally, I don't understand why black people will brag about walking away from the Democratic plantation and, in my honest opinion, going to the Republican plantation. What would be your thoughts in regards to my comments to those hardcore free Republicans?
Let me get 30 seconds, Shirley. Shirley, let me just get 30 seconds because I know you got your thing. My thing is this. Look, Republicans have not shown consistency that they are helping black people. So I'll give people that talking point. Republicans have put down laws that are anti-family, like I told you what Reagan did. Mm-hmm. So to suggest to walk away from Democrats is, to me, disingenuous. I think both parties need to be screamed at and held accountable in the public square. What are you going to do next month for this judge you won't voted in in my county? What are you going to do next month for this mayor How am I going to benefit? And you need to get on YouTube and TV, and every time somebody wants your vote, yell that out until they get tired of hearing you, like Black Lives Matter. So go ahead, Shirley.
I have to agree with you 120%. For those who may not know me, I've been a Republican all my life. So all the way back to Reagan, when I was able to, I'm dating how old I am now, but back to Reagan, I was able to vote. I've been following politics since I was a little kid, all the way in California. So I've always understood the principles of the Republican Party, which gives you the opportunity of wealth. But on the other hand, like the brother said, here we have situations where there are policies that have been divisive and destructive. So when we use the term plantation, it shouldn't even come out of Black people's mouths. Anyone who says the word plantation has no history of Black people in America who are children of the indigenous slave tribe.
So Shirley, let me cut in.
I like to finish my thought if I can.
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So when we talk about the whole thing about Black plantation, when you do, like the brother said earlier, you have Black plantations and you have Republicans and you have Black plantations that are on the other side. You have two plantations. What does that mean? No one's really breaking down what that means. What that means is there's a white narrative controlling you. So the only thing that can fix Black people is Black people like we're doing now. Black organizations owned by Black people. If you're with organizations that are not owned by Black people and controlled and ran by someone pushing a narrative that we should stay confused on, we're not going to have real factual talk. Because a lot of Black people don't talk to each other. They're just controlled by white narratives of the term Black Foundation. I want to backpack. If you please give me this one thing I wanted to share.
Go ahead, please. Go ahead.
Brother earlier talked about Black businesses. And I would tell you, as a business owner and understanding the history of who we are as a people, everything he said was right on point. And that you have to realize with the Black dollar, we have to be conscious of our industry and entities that we are strong in, that we have allowed other entities to control. I have issues with that. For example, the Black hair industry is controlled by the Korean community. So I want to give you some places to go to. If you could type in Black hair documentary on YouTube.
I was in that.
It's called, you seen that one?
I was in it.
Oh, yes, that's right. You were in that one.
That
documentary is a very clear example of how the Korean community has taken over. Another place you can go is if you go to the Power Thoughts That Can Come to You for the Day by Black Business. Let's see, it's called Urban Business Institute. So you can type in Urban Business Institute. And this brother talks about Black businesses and Black hairs, opening up Black stores and having import and export access to communities that allow us to get products wholesale or import and export. It's a multi-billion-dollar industry, and taking control of that industry away from Koreans and white people, if Blacks can control that industry, we would have a major card at the table. I'm gonna give you the last example. When the movie Black Panther, at the end, they said, we've got to work with and trying to fix our people in America, right? Killmonger had penetrated Wakanda in the sense that it had to be an example of understanding that colonization, which they already knew was divisive and destructive. And it's similar to the way we are in America, that Africa has been colonized by colonials and also by the Commonwealth in so many different ways. But they said at the end of the movie, what do you have to bring to the table to say that you want some power or some power position of a seat? And the movie cut away. And I would say to you, what do we have if we want to have a seat at the table with powerful people? We're not talking about money. We're not talking about solutions. We have people who are out there talking about plantation. I don't want to talk about plantation. I heard that with Herman Cain. These are white people telling Black people what to say. And so I would say to my
repeat that again. Repeat that again. Repeat that again.
White people, white Republicans telling Black people what to say. If you know you are listening to a Black person right now on YouTube and Facebook and social media who are out there, who are not speaking from a Black foundation perspective, don't give them no credence, because they can't turn that into numbers of money. Them same people that get all that SEO work behind them, that social media work, I ain't gonna say no names, They all out there doing all this plantation talk, and now they got a plantation team talking about plantation. It pulls money away from us. See, because they're giving money to them who are owned by white people, and nothing on our issues or our solutions are being paid to take care of. We need lobbyists, okay? We need legislation, okay? We need money, and we need our businesses back. But the major thing is, if we can get control of our hair, all the black women and all the hair we put on, and start saying, look, we want control of that industry. Everybody else got some kind of industry. The Filipinos are in the nursing industry. The Armenians got all the stores tapped up. I mean, we are a country that's divided by cultures anyway. Americans, we're the ones buying the hair. What the hell, Negro? Start talking to the Black Urban Institute businesses and realize that white people that are conservative right now realize that we're the narratives. We're the backbone to change the narrative of illegal immigration, but they're using these young millennials as black fronts talking about plantation. Don't listen to white people telling black people. Let black people speak for black people so we can get solutions and results done today.
You want to chime in on that, Q?
Yeah, so here's the thing, to what she said and for the chat room. Let me give you chat room people some education so you can stop doing this narrative. Conservative does not mean Republican. They are two different things. A Republican is a party. Conservative is a way of governance. There are Democrats who are conservative. There are coffee party people who are conservative. There are Green Party people who are conservative. Conservative basically means keep it here. Let me tell you how life was before NAFTA. Okay. Everybody had to come to America if they wanted American products, and they had to pay whatever America wanted. So let me give you an example. Everybody in the chat room, Coca-Cola, no, I don't believe in swirling. And see, that's the problem, Mr. Plug. You doing that feminine nonsense. I love super dark women. Even Dinus knows that. You should check out some of my videos. But anyway, my point is, everybody in the chat room, Coca-Cola soda pop used to be 5 cents, 10 cents, 25 cents. Some little boy in Thailand had to pay $15 for that same Coca-Cola that used to cost us 5 cents, 15 cents. And he take that Coca-Cola and sell it to his whole community. You get a sip for whatever he was selling it for. A sip for 50 cents, a sip for $1, whatever. When Clinton came along to create NAFTA with Gore, and really Clinton only did this because he was in trouble with this Monica Lewinsky crap. So he had to do something. But when Clinton came along and did this crap, he basically said, okay, China, for this business loan you give us, we're going to invest that in America. China said, we don't want no more Made in America stickers. And for anybody that's older, that's the day Made in America stickers went away. Made in America commercials went away. You couldn't even stamp products that said Made in America. Okay? The problem is with NAFTA, and I'm telling you about how conservatism works. The problem is with NAFTA, it said, okay, we're going to make it easier for everybody else, and we're going to take the hit for it. And Clinton told everybody, we're going to get you better jobs. That never happened. And see, conservatism says, don't do none of that global social nonsense. Keep it here. If everybody else has to struggle, keep it here. We are the #1 consumers. So therefore, we don't need to have a NAFTA. We don't need to have those things. And anybody who doubts what I'm saying, look at the classic debate between Gore and Ross Perot, where Gore said, hey, it's going to be a great thing. We're going to sell them, for example, a car, and they're going to sell us 4 tires, and we're just going to flat tax that out. And then Ross Perot looked at Gore and said, the price on a vehicle is much more in taxes that benefit America than the prices on tires. That is the essence of understanding what conservatism is. Conservatism is about keep it here. Don't sit up here and extend yourself to everyone else, to the point where everybody in your household is suffering. Last point, because I noticed some people giving Shirley a hard time about the conservatism thing and what have you. Like Shirley said, if you're speaking black first, if you're just not a talking puppet for white supremacy or white people or Jewish people or Asian people, which is going on in Africa, if you stop coming into the microphone speaking against black folks just for the sake of getting a couple of KKK dollars, that's different than someone just happy to have a policy about how to govern their household or govern the city or govern the nation. That doesn't make them a Republican just because they are a conservative. They have a governance point of view.
That was brilliantly said. I mean, I'm going to add to it this way as well. If we look at conservative, how do you conserve? I believe everyone is a conservative in the black community to some extent. If we decide to go out to eat dinner and I said, baby, I want to go get some steak, he could say, you know, we don't want to have a lot of money. Well, where can we go? Well, I'm not a conservative. I can eat anywhere I want. I'm going to go to Houston. I'm going to go to Martin's, and I can get a $150 steak. I can get a $200 steak. But if you're a conservative, you said, we don't have the money for that. So we're going to conserve and pull back, and we might go to Sizzlers. Hell, we might just pull back and go to Whole Foods and get a good quality steak and cook it at home because we are spending less than. So when you're a conservative, you might even use a discount coupon. Well, why did you use that coupon? Because I need to conserve money. I need to spend less than. I need to conserve for something greater. A conservative believes you conserve so that when you do want to be leisure and to be liberal with your money, you can spend it from another perspective. So all Republicans are conservatives. There's a twister for you there. Some conservatives, some Republicans, not all, but some Republicans are socialists. And some Democrats are conservative on their thoughts, but they're more socialist in their ideology. So it's a twister because you have Democrats and Republicans, which are your parties, independents, libertarians, but then you have conservative, socialism, communism, and conservatives. And the conservatives are about how do you build wealth? How do you look at saying, I'm going to set aside for something of a rainy day for a bigger reward in the end? If you have that ideology, then you are a conservative. As a Republican, and I am a Republican, I believe that we need less government and we need more empowered by the people. The Constitution says we the people, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice and domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense. We need to provide for us first. We have to instill law and order. And you need to understand that the Constitution was created from the Bible. The Constitution, for those who believe in the Bible, that's what the Constitution was created out of. So when you talk about a conservative, you talk about Republican, you talk about where we are in this country, where it's thinking of leadership.
Real quick, somebody that
wait, hold on. That one thing. And to Brenda Johnson in the chat room, we're not all over the place. We just have a different way of thinking that you're not used to. See, your number one thing is to attack or shame something you don't understand. It doesn't mean she's right or I'm right or she's wrong and I'm wrong. It just means, Brenda, you're not used to the information and you haven't went to go see if what we're saying is correct. Sorry about that, Dynas.
Okay. Let's see here. Somebody sent in the chat room, conservative. How can you be a conservative and want black progress?
Again, that just goes to what I just said. Whoever said that question. This is something you don't understand. Go read the book on Edmund Burke. Edmund Burke created conservatism. Go read the book on Edmund Burke. Take all the American out of it, the white, black out of it. Go read conservatism. And then after you read Edmund Burke, matter of fact, just read 5 pages from Edmund Burke on conservatism. After that, you're going to look on TV and you're going to say, wait a minute. What Fox News is saying sometimes isn't conservative. What Joe over here is saying sometimes isn't conservative. What ABL sometimes says it's not conservative, not according to the guy who created conservatism. And then you're going to start to understand that everything you hear on TV, radio, YouTube is not necessarily conservatism. It may be someone who is capitalizing off conservatism, the same way that Democrats are not necessarily for black people. Nancy Pelosi has done nothing for you people in the chat room. Yet, you can quickly say, this person's a coon, that person's a coon, and all that's good. But what I'm bringing your attention to is, look at everybody. Look at all of us. Hold all of us accountable.
ABL in the chat room says, everyone has their own opinion about what conservatism is. Who died and made you the grand arbiter of what it is and what it isn't?
And what I will say to ABL, because don't have me pull the curtain open, to everybody in the chat room, listen to what he just said. All I said was the creator of conservatism. So ABL is going against the creator of conservatism. It ain't about who made me God, who made Edmund Burke the creator. Edmund Burke did. So listen to what ABL is saying, people in the chat room, and you'll find out he has no knowledge of Edmund Burke. He doesn't even, he has no knowledge of anything Edmund Burke or John Adams talked about. He's benefiting. And I'm not hating him for that. But, dude, I'm not the one. I'm a seasoned conservative. I'm not new to this.
And you know what? I'm going to chime in on you. And I'm 120% behind this brother right here, what he's saying, because being in this game for so long, we understand what conservatism is because we live it. We're not just antics of talking about it or still trying to decipher what it means and what it's about. When you live it, when you understand it and understand the infrastructure of your existence and being in this country has to be based on conservatism. Because if it's based on socialists or being liberal, we would have nothing in this country. We would be under a dictatorship. We would be under a government that is basically not moving us forward as an American people. So, I mean, y'all need to do your homework before you attack some seasoned pros that you hear and see in this video right now.
Another thing, Q, you can answer this question. Now, Democrats have always used immigrants, whether legal or illegal, to marginalize Black people and keep them out of the marketplace. And it is well documented. But why till this day are Black people supporting these immigration policies or supporting illegal immigration or fighting for illegal immigrants?
Well, this goes to what you and Shirley was talking about before I came on, and I'll chime on some of the things Shirley said, is that we got to remember, number one, the original Ku Klux Klan were Democrats, Dixiecrats to be exact. So let that soak in. What has happened is, since Reagan came around, other people don't like when I say this, but this is the honest thing. When Reagan came around, this is why 41, President Bush Sr. did not really like Reagan at first, especially during the debates. Reagan was originally a Democrat who was not successful at being a Democrat. So he switched parties. And when he switched parties, oh, people oohing and ahhing in the chat room. See, you didn't know that. Go look that up. Prior to 65,
can I add one more thing? Hillary Clinton was a Republican before she became a Democrat. Y'all need to do your homework.
Right. And so there's a lot of things that people in the chat room are assuming and don't understand. So when it comes to this thing of why it is the way it is, unfortunately, since the creation of Fox News, because before Fox News, it wasn't like this, there was such a disrespect toward anybody of color religiously on TV. And then as the internet gained more traction, there was Rudy Poot snowflake guys who felt disenfranchised because their milk dairy farm didn't go as planned. You know what I'm saying? And so they would start bashing people of color. And so people of color start gravitating more and more and more to the Democrats who were not saying anything negative. Doesn't mean they didn't feel that way, because when Obama first came on the scene, like I said, it was Democrats trying to stop that dude. Wasn't no Republicans trying to stop that dude. That first year, it was no, 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 no. You don't know. You just young. No, they were stopping him like all outdoors. So when you say these things, it's because Democrats learn how to not say nothing, good or bad, about black folks. And the conservatives or the Republicans or people on that side constantly grabbed the microphone and said disrespectful stuff. I'm going to make a comment about Black Panther, the movie. But when the Russian movie Red Sparrow comes out, I'm not going to say nothing. See, black people look at that and they like, golly, white folks, why are you always speaking up? And we're always trying to help you when it comes time for these wars. We're always jumping in our planes and being the red tails, and we're always being the Harlem Hellcats. And we all see, I know history. I know actual factual things. Sorry, ABL, that you don't know those things. But nevertheless, my point is, you got to understand that when Fox News was created, per my view, it started to demonize one side. And what the Democrats successfully did was be quiet. They wouldn't say nothing good or bad. Except when Clinton got on that saxophone, black folk, oh, he's cool. He was all right. But secretly, Clinton is the one that created private jails. Clinton is the one that sat up here and created the structure for the Patriot Act that allows people, cops, to just scan your plates and write you and pull you over for noticing that your insurance has collapsed. Clinton is the one who created all those things. Prior to that, you didn't have all that stuff. It wasn't no towing of your car and all that crazy stuff. Now, people are using those things to go after you guys. And that's what I'm trying to say, is that you got to know everything about the information and the history, and not just assume Shirley is a Republican, Q is a conservative, boo, boo, coon. Okay, let's say that's true. But then the person over here, Democrat, not saying nothing, hates you with passion and smiles in your face and takes everything from you and your kids. And now who do you blame?
Anything else you want to add to that, Ms. Shirley?
I would say they even have hot sauce on their purse, and then they end up having you dance on stage so you can get a check behind the scene. Look, it's smoke and mirrors that we find with the Democratic Party and what they continue to do for the Black community. The smoke and mirror method has been successful for the last 40 years because, as I stated before, there's no profit in the cure, but there's profit for Black elected officials. It's profit for the Congressional Black Caucus that congregate over districts that are, most of them, the loudest ones, like Camilla wannabe Black Harris and Maxine Waters, don't even have any Black people here. We're down to 6% in California. So they want that wave to continue the rest of the country because they're getting earmarks and they're getting checks. Y'all got to wake up. Even Hollywood with Black Americans. Why are these Black Hollywood people supporting illegal immigration? Why are these Black Hollywood people not mad about what's going on in the Black community? They get 1% of the wealth. I think Whoopi Goldberg's worth $45 million. You don't never hear her say, hey, y'all, we're going to get together. We're going to create a lobbyist. We're going to think of some legislation to make Black lives matter. Black lives really don't matter to these people. It's a terminology so that they can still use you and step on your back with the smoke and mirror method. What we're trying to do today is wake you up and say, do your homework. Stop being so defensive or so aggressive towards us. And we're just trying to give you real numbers and real facts and stop acting emotionally and say, ho, let me do my homework. Let me take some of these notes and go to some of these websites and let us build ourselves as a nation of people. Somebody said in the chat room also about, I want to start a business. I want to grow and I want to meet other people. If I can do what you guys are talking about, I say go to meetup.com. If you go to meetup.com, find out things that you like to do and find people of kindred spirit in business. And you might be surprised. You might find a brother or sister too there and then talk to them.
Right.
And see if there's somebody that, hey, this sister's like me. This brother's like me. He likes tech. He's in the DOS. I come from old school DOS. But as you know, we now have developers. We have UX UI people. What about people who are in forensics? Hey, I'm going to go to cybersecurity forensics meeting. I'm going to learn how to code. I'm going to go to Black Girls That Code. I'm going to go to code.org, and I'm going to learn how to code so I can get ahead of the game. If you want to see Black communities grow, yes, we need to have utilities. Yes, we need to have food products controlled and grown by us, but we need to have a bigger way of getting there at a lower cost, and that's through technology. If we can get together, you don't need no 4 or 5 or 8 years of schooling for that. You can get a certificate, you can go to developer school, you could become a coder, and you can make money, and then you can come back to Urban Game Changers, you can come back to DIE or any of us and say, hey, where do we go from here? Because we need to hire lobbyists to fight for our best interests. Lobbyists get the squeaky wheel. The Catholic Church doesn't work in our best interest. Back in 400 years, they were trading people. Now they're in front of the cameras with children pushing the illegals and babies. That has been such a smoke and mirrors. But get those Black people smoke and mirrors. Y'all got to see, oh, that's a smoke and mirror. Let me get louder. Let me start texting and emailing more about illegal immigration control and take down Black people. They don't want you to be against them, because that makes your number grow. If all of us, 100% Black Americans, stood together and said, we do not support illegal immigrants, and we want that seat at the table, Mr. Trump, and we want legislation, and we have laws, and we have a list of solutions with bylaws that are already in place. We don't have to reinvent the laws. We just need them to enforce them and take them back.
Can I just add this kind of what Shirley said?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Look, it's just like when people teased Omarosa for being in the White House. Whether you liked her or not, John Kelly got her out of there, and now he about to get out of there. How does that serve us? Whether you liked her or not, having her there, even if nothing really came about it, even being able to hold those conversations is Shirley's point. Being able to be on record having those conversations. Let's talk about lobbyists. Dinus, did you know that Black females, Democrats, have their own lobbyists in the Senate?
Had no clue.
Okay, but they don't talk about Black people. They just talk about Black women. Isn't that a problem if you're only talking about one gender? So my point is that to Shirley's point, you got to have lobbyists in place to have your agenda. That's why I said when you was on O'Shea show, I said, hey, look, you got to have lobbyists in place to hold a Black male agenda. I mean, you can force that in the conservative, in a Republican Party, but we got to stop being talkers about it. We got to actually get in and force these conversations to be happening. The other thing I'll say to what Shirley said is, whether it's conservative on the conservative side, what happened to Michael Steele was a tragedy. What happened to Mia?
Let me jump in. It's something that ABL, if you're watching, you still haven't answered the question, but go ahead or addressed it. ABL, you are Brandon Tatum, but go ahead.
Yeah, him and Tatum ain't gonna do that because, like I said, they're getting a check. So, but anyway, nevertheless, my point is
everybody's for sale. They got bought. So next.
So yeah, so it is what it is. What happened to Michael Steele was so disrespectful. It was disappointing on so many levels. But the same thing happens when they muted the Black dude who was working with Bernie, made him take a seat and made him shut everybody up. So it happens on both sides. But what we got to start doing, especially on the local level, your city, your county, all these ideas you people have in the chat room, I need for you to take your sarcasm down to your city council.
Okay.
Just tell your job it's voting day today in my county. They have to let you off. Okay. You don't have to show them proof. It's voting today in my county. A lot of times they don't publicize when a judge is running or when a secretary is running, but you say, hey, I got to go down, and you go sit down in your city council. Stop being in the chat room saying what we need to do. Man, Mr. Research must like cheeseburgers. Stop all of that childishness, because that's what these other groups want you to do. They want you to only be talkers. They want you to only be complainers. They don't want to see you down there at city council saying, why is that judge getting elected? He don't even like black people. Why is that a person getting voted in? They don't even like women. Why does that person getting voted in? She's anti-male. That's where all you guys need to be at. Instead of sitting up here doing the entertainment thing and clowning. And then you guys wonder why black male homelessness is on the rise. Most of your grandmama's property is being seized by the city because you so independent and single-minded. You don't think like a family. You don't have your money together to take over the taxes. You still live in an apartment, and your grandma got a nice house over there. You can't even pay the back taxes on to take that over. You guys got to understand where your priorities are. Sorry about that, Dinus.
No, I thought that was brilliant. I'm going to chime in one more time. Look, it starts at home. That's brother saying it is so on point. It starts at home. We talk about 3 strikes, you're out. Who voted those laws in place, and who are the judges? Who are the judges that continue to force them on our people, who are biased and target our people? You can vote those judges out. If you can't get rid of the law, get rid of the judges. You know, but if you don't realize the judges, that there's a pattern in the system. There's a pattern in the system that is divisive and destructive towards us as a people, and that we have ways to break them, but we're so stuck on the stupid. We're so stuck on the Kardashians and entertainment and how many Instagrams and how many selfies I take a day. We're so stuck on all that, we're losing. I want to see you all empowered mentally, spiritually, and financially. And the way you become empowered is watching shows that you see that Di does, that I do, that ABL is once in a while. ABL has some great shows, and sometimes I'm questionable now that what he's done. And I love my ABL. He knows that. But you also have amazing people like T West. You also have amazing people. I love Triologic, and no one's talking about her. I'm gonna throw her on the table, and I'm gonna throw Nikki Green. Hey, I'll throw Cynthia G. Let's all have a conversation that we're all having here. If we agree or disagree with some of our other YouTubers, Yvette Cornell. I mean, we all need to keep talking, because the more we talk, the more we clarify. The more we clarify, we come up with solutions that are already there. We just don't identify them, and we don't take charge of it.
Guys, we have 303 people watching, only 186 likes. Please get the likes up, hit that like button. We have a very dynamic panel on today. Information show, brother. I think I want to say Q and Shirley answered your question already, brother. That was addressed, but Q, I'm going to ask you. We'll get back to you. Black people who support illegal immigration don't support the Black community. Am I fair in my analysis or not?
A lot of times, to Shirley's earlier point, it's less educated people. Mm-hmm. For example, and you know what? I'm almost primed to have us take a pause until they get the likes up. That's disrespectful. 160, and you got 300 people watching. But yeah, you know, the problem is that like the brother just said in the chat room, he said Obama didn't do anything for Black people. Well, what you don't realize is Paul Ryan blocked every Black thing that Obama tried. So let me give you one example. Obama tried to do something with child support. I want you to type in your Google, Obama, child support, Paul Ryan blocked. And you will see how Paul Ryan blocked that effort by Obama to alleviate many men from back child support interests.
Hey, can I read something real quick? So child support payments, if you owe $2,500 or more in child support, you are not eligible to receive a U.S. passport. Golly.
Well, it's been like that for years. Actually, your boy Gore did that. Yeah, a Democrat. He did that. Yeah, your guy did that. But it's been like that for years. But you know, that's neither here nor there. I mean, at the end of the day, it's kind of like what somebody else said. We, especially as black men, we have to start creating infrastructure. Black men, as much as we talk, as much money we make in sports and entertainment, we need to create some type of loan card or whatever to where a black dude or a guy in general can get out from up under those child payments and pay back this black male banking system at a 15 or 16% rate or 8% rate. You know, black males can do that if we stop just falling in love with chasing white women and talking about how much I hate women and women going one day realize we ain't gonna date them. That type of conversation is entertainment. It's not real. You know what I'm saying? It's you got Chinese dudes over in China going into depression because they're not interacting with no females. It's like at some point in time, you got to stop complaining and you got to create. Take that 10 G's and create. Like I told everybody, I invested in WakandaCon. That's coming up in Chicago. I'm thinking about trying to do a San Francisco version. I'm thinking about trying to do some other black male stuff here in the Bay Area. I'm trying to spend this money. I took a manager job and a second job in AI, in trying to do AI so that I can make these type of investments for other brothers. I don't sit on the chat room talking about making little and stuff. It's counterproductive, people. It's counterproductive. More homeless black people. I want y'all to drive around and look at the homeless black dudes out there.
Man, go to LA, go to Skid Row. Goodness.
Yeah, you can be there in 2 years. I've been homeless twice. I know what it feels like. So my whole point is saying all this. Go ahead, Shirley.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off. A lot of people in California only one paycheck away. I just did a video I uploaded yesterday. A lady 67 years old, African American, homeless downtown LA. She said, I'm on a fixed income and the rent was so high, my income can't support it. So you got a lot of your elderly aunts and uncles, people that could have been your teacher in school, who are now homeless because they can't afford to stay here. And we can't afford to wake up and go make a difference and change that for them.
Yeah, and just to finish out my statement, like I said earlier about not knowing, see, that brother didn't know Obama tried to do those things. And kind of like I said, I'm fair because I look at the math of things. And when we go back to the Trump side of things, Trump has not hurt black folks as of yet. He hasn't done nothing negative. My thing, again, with Clinton was she was so anti-black with a smiling face. It's like, Jesus Christ, just look at Libya. There was no reason for Libya to be attacked. There was no reason for Gore and them to create these private jails back in the day. There was no reason for all of that. And I'm not saying Republicans are perfect. Clearly not. Because like I said, look at how Michael Steele got treated. But we as black folks, if we stop this infighting, kind of what Shirley said, get everybody talking. Stop using these fantastical dates and things that don't exist. Somebody said earlier about black people going to Mexico. Of course, because they had a black president. Oh, I didn't know they had a black president, Q. Once again.
And he was assassinated because he was black.
Right. Once again, you got to research. I mean, you got, you know, so
can I add on to that? And what about what happened to Malcolm X's grandson?
You see what I'm saying? It's like there's so much stuff. I understand you guys are not used to conservatives talking black first, but a lot of us do exist. I do go to these dinners and I do hold these white folks accountable. I make these white folks turn pink sometimes when I say the things that I say to them, you know, but I am an American. I'm pro-America, but I am not a sucker for everything mayonnaise. I'm just not. I'm all about keep it here because that benefits you guys. I have 5 certifications. I'm protected. But for some of you guys out there, you need these unions. You need these programs. You need these let's build together type of philosophies. And you don't need immigration. It's not going to help you.
Shirley, we'll
Yes.
pass the mic to you, and then we'll go ahead and close out after that. After you speak.
Wow, there's so much we talked about today.
Oh yeah.
I would, we should do a week series. People
Hey,
could be.
I'm down because Shirley, like I
Serious.
said,
We could be on every
I'm dead
night,
serious. I'm
and
dead.
we could look. You said when I said that, you're like, I'm serious.
I'm
We
dead
could
serious.
take one night and talk about money. We could take one night and talk about mass incarceration. We can take one night and talk about how Black women are targeted to abort their children. So our seed is taken out of us. But the Jewish people, you can compare the Black seed versus the Jewish seed. That's a whole nother story. Because the Jewish
Oh, you mean the Polish people? You mean them Polish people over there? Okay, yeah.
They value the woman. Where is the womb of the Black woman who was valued by her own people? That's the point I'm trying to make with that one. I mean, there's just so many subject matters that we could go upon that has to do with the divisiveness that has commenced in this country. So I'm going to end it on two notes. Number one, there's no profit in the cure. That's why Democrats want to keep you poor, and they want a lesser than culture of people to elevate because they can liquidate that culture. Number two, keep in mind, as far as making money, well, when you start to tell the truth, people get a little scared. So remember that. Truth tellers get a little scared when you tell the truth because some people can't afford to tell the truth. Make sure you guys follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, and go to my YouTube channel. Subscribe and like me too. And like this other brother Q, because I love him. Q, you are so awesome. Thank you so much for joining in. You just added so much value to this conversation. Sometimes people think that we're the lonely person out there, but we're not. There's many of us, and we're all starting to step up to bring you guys on board and join our train because we need that new Wakanda, and it starts with all of us.
All right, go ahead and Q, go ahead and share your contact information and anything else you'd like to share in closing.
Well, you catch me on Facebook, Bro Lessons. Twitter is Bro Lessons, and then YouTube is the Male Wolf Lifestyle. Really teaching guys to live beyond dating and complaining. And really live a dominant mentality. Got a lot of dudes on Patreon. We got the counseling going on. That's going great. This thing, Patreon's blowing up more than what I thought it would. Doing a lot of counseling, helping a lot of dudes double their salaries. We got 95% of the Wolf students are making more money than they was before now. And they're restructuring their life, how they think about things, how they think about women and business and everything. So, just got a lot of good stuff going on, man. And my closing statement is this. If Black people start looking at everybody with dark skin as Black, if we reached out to the negritos and negritas, the people who are hated in Spanish culture for their dark skin, and say, you're our brother, come on in. We would take that energy and that collective, and we would start to get more culture back. Like I go Latin dancing a lot. There's a culture in how people behave. I go Kizomba dancing now, which is an African created thing. There is a culture in how people behave. And when you have that elegant culture, when you have that upper level of class, then you start dealing with better types of people. Then when I say, hey, I got 10 G's, I want to invest in something, you come to me with a solid business plan with no errors and no issues, we might be able to talk. I might be able to get a percentage with you. I got a young brother right now. He's too young for me to invest right now, but he creates his own cell phones. He takes the inner workings of a cell phone and creates his own cell phones from scratch. Okay. I worked with this brother on his business plan. I worked with this brother. He's in some type of business deal with a hip hop guy now. We sat and talked about how to restructure that understanding and make sure things are documented. And if it's going to be percentages, it needs to be like this. That's how I'm trying to help other Black dudes, through action, not through talking and dreaming of white women. That's not going to work. So those are my closing things.
All right. Well,
can I come in on that one?
Go ahead.
Power to brother. I forgot to mention also, and I would get in trouble with my team, Urban Game Changers, where we go into the urban communities and we hold elected officials accountable. We talk about understanding the difference of parties. We understand that we need to understand different levels of government from local, state to federal. We recently just had a Fate of Black America tour. We were in Washington, D.C. We had a good 50, 60 African-American people there talking about illegal immigration and everything that we talked about here. We're looking at doing something with the Advice Show in Texas, so stay tuned for that. And we got a big announcement coming out regarding October. So we have 6 chapters right now with Urban Game Changers, where we're going to be going into communities, and we already have been doing this on local levels, having these kinds of conversation. You all may not agree with anything that we said. You might agree to 120%. But guess what? Thank you for staying this long. Thank you for listening. And thank you for creating dialogue, because communication is the key to bring us back as a unit, as a people.
And with that being said, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Make sure you go to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, and Facebook. Also, Africa Personified on those same platforms. Make sure you go to searchforuhuru.com, dynasamir.com, amazon.com. Search your name, Dynasamir. Please buy a book. Also, go to africapersonified.africa. Until next time, everybody on the panel, thank you so much. I enjoyed it. It was a great build. I really enjoyed it. So
thank you for having me. God bless
anytime. Once a week, anytime.
No, I'm telling you, we should do a week series of this, and they'll be like, "Oh my god, oh my god!" Just do it for a whole week, not once a week, like a whole week, and just see what happens.
Okay.
Yeah, just let me know in advance, at least like 4 hours in advance, so I can itch over some time. Especially if there's a crazy.
And Q, I'd really love to talk to you, so make sure that we connect, because I love to talk to you after the show if that's possible.
Okay, Dynas, just send him my email and we'll connect.
All right.
Also, Dynas, if something crazy happens in the news, man, put this together so we can explain it to the people.
Okay, absolutely. Yes, sir. All right, family. Peace.
Peace.